know how weird it is seeing one of your exes get not only engaged but married? It's just such a weird feeling that that person was not at all the right person for me, yet they were the perfect person for someone else.
I just started dating again. Feeling like maybe I should crawl back in that hole. Put that wall back up. Protect yourself.
People ask me all the time what's been my biggest emotional challenge since getting divorced. And I have to say that it's come to the realization of how replaceable I was in my marriage.
My ex got married. We broke up a long time ago, like 5 years ago. And this honestly doesn't really have anything to do with him except for the fact that he got married and I saw it, and it kind of brought back memories of me healing from the heartbreak.
Social media giving people such a false perception of what their options are, that it's like going to their head. Like people really thinking like, man, I got 10 people waiting on me outside of this. I ain't putting up with nothing. And then they leave a relationship and realize, damn, these 10 people that I thought was ready and willing to replace the woman I had or the man I had, they missing a lot in terms of being a full-time partner.
Every day that I decide to log on to Facebook, I'm in a bunch of mom groups, you know, like in my area. And at first the page was helpful, like you'd get some good recommendations, babysitter. Then it kind of turned into like mom bullying. Not here for that. So I kind of took a step back. I don't post on there anymore. But I shit you not, every single day now, multiple times a day, there's an anonymous member posting on these pages complaining about wanting to leave their husbands because of how awful they are, how they don't do anything, how they don't take care of their children, how they abuse them financially, emotionally, sometimes physically. I just started dating again. Feeling like maybe I should crawl back in that hole.
Just real quick, because I see what she's trying to do. She's trying to act like women are perfect creatures. That's what she's doing here. But, you know, the problem with that is, and she's talking about how sometimes he doesn't take care of the kids and he isn't doing his part. Just real quick, in 2021, women were the primary perpetrators of child abuse. So this notion that they are just automatically superior parents is simply not true. And it's just women nowadays are very difficult to please, and that's reflected in the divorce rates that they initiate in both heterosexual and lesbian relationships. Like the divorce rate in lesbian relationships is the highest in homosexual and heterosexual. Lesbian is the highest. They're difficult to please. They can't even please each other. And so their double standards literally just echoes in culture, and it exists in their relationships as well. So, you know, of course, they're going to come on a Facebook group and frame it like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. It was all the husband. He did everything wrong. And everyone's going to believe them. And they're not going to say, oh, here's what I did. No, it's all on the man. So, you know, of course they didn't do anything wrong. And America is women first. And these ladies know that. And they behave in that way, making them terrible marriage material, relationship material, and they're never accountable for that. Again, because America is very women first. And they're not in a good situation or position to handle that authority. They want to be able to exercise that authority but not be responsible for that said authority. It's so ridiculous. Like, once I started hearing women use these words like financial abuse or emotional abuse, that's when I realized, like, I really can't take them that seriously. And these words are just so vague, and so they can be anything they want. And by the way, that's the way they like it.
Put that wall back up. Protect yourself.
People ask me all the time what's been my biggest emotional challenge since getting divorced.
I doubt that they do. I doubt she's getting asked that all the time.
And I have to say that it's come to the realization of how replaceable I was in my marriage.
Yeah, this is great. So she didn't realize that she was replaceable. I mean, man, I've known that I was replaceable since I was a little boy. Growing up as a male, I was very quickly shown just how replaceable I am and was. So it's just interesting how these women grow up thinking they are a special snowflake unicorn. Yes, of course you are replaceable. It's silly to think otherwise.
You know, a big part of why I left and became unhappy in my marriage is because I did not feel seen, heard, celebrated, and valued for who I was and what I brought to that relationship.
So again, this goes back to the whole, in America, women are women first. And I'm sure in other countries as well, but I live in America, so I am able to speak on it. And so a woman like this has been gassed up. She's been shielded from humility. She's been told she's a 10. She's been told she's special and she deserves so much. She's been told she's a catch. She's been told women first. She's been told divorce is empowering. She's been told to expect no less than what you think you deserve. Do not settle. And also that men ain't shit. And so that environment develops a selfish, self-serving human being that is solipsistic, eager to press that red button of divorce the moment her modern woman senses start tingling.
It became very apparent in my divorce that that was true. When I left my ex-husband, he was apparently devastated. I ruined his life. Within 2 months, he was already in another long-term relationship that lasted 2 years. Then overlapped with a second relationship, which has now lasted 2 years. And what I've seen and learned through watching this happen was that I wasn't special. That it didn't matter if it was me or just someone else who was filling the role that he needed to be filled in his life. As long as someone was going to come and slide right into my position and keep everything in his...
Her position. You divorced the guy, but you're still clinging on, acting like that's your position, like you're entitled to this guy's lifetime courtship or just being with him. It's
exactly the same. It didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter if it was me or someone else. He needed that role to be filled, and that's all that mattered. And so part of me feels validated because I knew I wasn't celebrated and cherished for who I was. I can see that now because all of those years that I committed to the marriage were turned off in a dime because I didn't follow the role he wanted me.
In other words, he has standards for women, I suppose. I mean, what a piece of work. Holy shit. So after that marriage, that guy found a woman who he loved and a woman he saw a future with. And she's scrambling in her modern woman brain thinking, how could this happen? How could he love someone else besides me? How could I be replaced with another woman? I'm a unicorn. I'm special. Doesn't he see that? It must be that he's a narcissist who doesn't care what woman it is as long as his needs are met. What a strange way to frame that he moved on from you easily. And there's probably a good reason for that.
Broke up a long time ago, like 5 years ago, and this honestly doesn't really have anything to do with him except for the fact that he got married and I saw it and it kind of brought back memories of me healing from the heartbreak. So I thought I'd do a quick video on how I healed from a heartbreak and moved on. Because this was my most serious relationship. We were living together. I thought that it was me and him until the end. And I know that there are so many girls out there that break up with someone who they feel exactly the same about. Whether it's good or bad reasons, mutual or one-sided, heartbreak is hard. This is for my girlies who feel like right now that their whole world is falling apart because I've been there and like you're never going to move on. First things first, you do move on. I know what it feels like. I know how you feel right now, and just thinking back to that emptiness of a relationship falling apart, of you thinking that it's going to last forever and just hoping that things are just going to go back to normal, even if they're bad, because our relationship was so toxic and toxic queen. That actually brings me on to a point. Really acknowledging what you've done in the relationship and trying to heal yourself from those bad habits or toxic behaviors. That period of singleness and aloneness after we broke up was so hard, but the best thing to ever happen to me, because it gave me such self-awareness, such healing and strength, and brought me so much closer to God, like made him my priority.
What the fuck, man?